everyone, welcome back to the third edition of Introduction to Using the BBC Microbit. So by now you should be getting more confident in all the things we're doing. Today we're looking at loops and selection. Last time we looked at variables and input. So now we're going to move on to another programming concept about loops and selection. Okay. So what do we want to look at? So here we've got some code, and you can see it says here forever. So this is a loop, and this means that forever these three pieces of code will repeat. Okay, so it's like a while true statement. We say this in programming terms. So I want to try this code for ourselves. So like we did before, you should head yourself over to BBC Microbit. So it's makecode.microbit.org. And then open up the editor. So here I'm just going to show you exactly what I did. So I've got a new one here, lesson 3 iteration and selection. So I'm just going to start a new one called lesson 3 and loops and selection. Okay, and we're going to explain how those both work. Okay, so we're going to just take our forever block here, which is our repeater block. And we're going to take a basic, we're going to have a string, show string, and we're going to say come, let's see, here, so computer, and we want another one, show string, science, and last one, drop it in there, rocks. Okay, there we go. So it should do this repeated, and you can see it's producing it on here. So we have it repeating across the screen here. So we're going to connect our BBC Microbit up and see how it looks on our BBC Microbit. So I'm just going to switch over to the camera here. So you should have BBC Microbit, of course, a cable, and if you have one of the old or new computers, you might need an adapter. I actually have a new cable which fits into the computer, so I don't need this today. So again, we'll just connect that up and connect up a BBC Microbit. Again, same, very straightforward. There it is, connected up. And we're going to download this code. So you should have connected already. It should say connected. If you haven't, you hit connect here, and if you're not sure, go back and watch the previous videos. It shows you how to connect it. So I want to hit download. Actually, I can just quickly show you how to do it, and yeah, so you can see how it works. So I'm just going to delete it here and then show you how to connect it. Reload the page. So you want to click on the 3 dots here, and you want to click on connect device. Click next. Next, it should pop up here. Press connect. Okay, done. Very straightforward. So once you have connected it, we want to press download. So if I just press download here, you should see the little light flashing on the back there. And then you should see the text going across there. Computer science rocks. So as always, take a screenshot of your code here, like so, and place it into this. Place your screenshot code here. Okay, so it should be there. I'll just move that over. Yeah, excellent. So so what you want to do is create a program that displays your name and repeats it at 2-second intervals. So this is activity 1. So we've got it to show this text here. So we want to change that. We want to change it to Mr. Aaron. I'm going to get rid of this one. And we're going to go to basic, and we're going to do pause, and we're going to have 2 seconds. So let's see what that does. It should pause between each one. or it's going to do both of them. So it says, what do we want to do? It says at 2-second intervals, so it's going to wait for 2 seconds. So again, press download for that one, put it onto your microbit, and then place the screenshot of your code here. Okay. So that's an example of loops. So we're going to try this out. So here we have some code here. So we're going to try this code out. So on here, I'm just going to bin this one, we don't need it. And we want to take an input and drag the input out. And we are going to say, right, we're going to forward 1 step, turn. So we're going to use a little library in this thing. It's called the turtle. So we may have come across this one before. So we're going to get our little turtle to carry out these steps here. So I've said the word iteration here, but it means the same thing. It means a loop. So what I'm going to do is, I don't see my turtle icon here. So I'm just going to go to extensions. And you'll see if I scroll down here on the left, micro turtle here. And if you just click on it, it should add this extension to your microbit. So just click on micro turtle, just make sure you do that. And now you see that we have a new icon here that says turtle on it. Okay, so we're going to take an input. We looked at inputs the last lesson, and then we're going to take a turtle, and it says forward 1, turn right. So forward 1, turtle, turn right. We go again, forward 1, turtle, turn right. And we're going to go again, forward 1, turtle, turn right. So we've got 1, 2, 3, one more, forward 1, turtle, turn right. Okay, so let's see, does that work then? And it should be that one. 1, 2, 3, yep, 4 we have. So I'm going to switch over to my camera here, and I'm going to hit download on that. Let's see, does it work? Okay, so we have our turtle in the middle there. So it says if I press the button A, so there you go, it does a little, moves around, it does a little square. Okay, so if I press it again, you can see it happens. There's again. So it's just doing a very quick little square there. Okay, so you might notice something about this code here, and of course the code is repeating. Okay, so the code is forward 1, right 1, forward 1, right 1, forward 1, right 1, and computers are very good at doing things over and over again for us without having to do it ourselves. So we can use a loop to make this code much more efficient. Okay, so take a screenshot of that code, of course. And what I want to do actually, just before we do that one, see can you get it to make a rectangle rather than a square. Okay, so you need to change the steps. Instead of going forward 1, you might have to do forward 2, or and so on, to see if you can get it to make a square. Okay, take a screenshot of that code and place it, or a rectangle, and place it in here, so then we can see what that looks like. Okay, yeah. Okay, so just switch that. So change the previous program that creates a square using a loop. Use the example code to help you. So this time we're going to use a loop, and you can see here we're using this loop called a for loop, and a for loop means it does it a specific number of times. The other loop did it forever, but this one will do it a specific number of times, and we can see what it'll do. Okay, so if we try to put this code in, so I'm going to just get rid of this code, move this one over here. So what we need to do, we need to find the for loop. Okay, in Turtle we want to use the pen down, because that means it's going to help us to draw the square we want. And we want to go to loops, and you want to find the for here. There it is. So it says for index from 0 to 4, and we want from 0 to 3, so we're going to just change that to 3. And we want to put in forward 1, right So that's it there. So it should work. So let's have a go and run that code. So let's see what it looks like. And we're going to download it. Okay, so let's try. So you can see now it moves around. I'll just reset it, show you again. And it does the same thing, but we have a lot less lines of code, and we can easily change it here. So let's change this to, instead of going forward 1 step, let's go forward 3 steps and download that. Let's try. Okay, so we went outside of the edge of the thing. So let's try it with just 2. Let's try 2 then. Oh, sorry, did that wrong. Should have been 2 there. 3 here. Okay, and download. Yeah, that's much better. So we've got a little bit of a bigger square now. Okay, so we have a little play with that one and see if you can get it to work, and then take a screenshot of your code and place it onto the assignment. Okay, so then place your code here. So that's a loops that'll help us to repeat things over and over again. So the next thing I want to do is look at selection. So selection lets us change the path through our program. So based on the user choice or something that happens or something we call a condition, then the program can decide to do something different, okay? So we have some code here. And we have two, we use the if statement to cause selections, and we can use it in the block-based here and also in Python. So we're going to try out this code here. So if button A is pressed, then show this icon. Else, if button B is pressed, then show this icon. Okay. So again, we're going to try that code out. So let's try this code. We can get rid of this one now. And we want to find the logic gate. So if you go here, we press logic, you'll find an if statement. So we want to take the second one here and explain in a minute what we want. And we want something to be true for the selection to work. So it says if button A is pressed. So if we go into input, we want to do if button A is pressed. Actually, we don't need that in there, actually, if I notice that's correct. Yeah, so it should be in the forever block. So we don't need that one. It should be in here. There, like that. So if button A is pressed, then show this icon. So we'll go to basic, show icon. And we want to show this one, okay? Now, it says else statement here, but so that's the default option. So if this button is pressed, then do this. If that is not pressed, then you do this statement. But I want to actually add another one of this. So we want else if instead. Okay, so this time we're going to take our input, and we're going to take another button press here, and it's going to be this time B. We're going to show basic, show icon, and it should be, we're going to use the skull this time. Where's the skull? There we go. Okay. So this one is like a little coin flip. So this one represents heads, this one represents tails, or vice versa, actually. So we could have this as heads and this is tails, of course. So this, let's see, does this work? So we're going to download that. And just see what it looks like. So there we go. Oh, there we go. So if you press A, it looks like that. If I press B, it looks like that. So you can see heads, tails, heads, tails. So depending on which button you press, it shows you different. Okay, so that's a selection. So the choice is which button we press, and then it decides which one is used. So we call that a selection statement. Okay, so we're going to try this one out then. We want to also add something, so again, you place your code in here. So take a screenshot. You can see the example here and place your code in. Okay, you can choose different images this time. You don't have to use my images. And see if you can get it to work. So that's the 2 buttons. Press that. And let's see what next activity is then. So we can also do this thing called random. So we've talked about loops, how we can repeat things, selection when you can choose things, and computers are pretty good at making random choices as well for you. So we can, for this one, it'll help us to come up with a little random game here. So we're going to have, if button A is pressed, it's going to pick a random value between true and false. If the value is true, so then if this is true, then you show this icon. If it's false, then it's going to show that icon. Okay, so let's see, let's change this around a little bit. So we're going to get the button again. We're going to drop that in here. And instead of if A is pressed, we're going to get rid of that one. And we're going to get rid of that one. In actual fact, we're going to get rid of that. And yeah, if that else, that's good. So we want to go to, which one is it? The same as the purple one, so it's math. We want to have random, so pick random, okay. And we don't want the pick random, we want pick random between true and false. There it is, pick random true or false. I'm going to drop it in there, okay. So what do you think is going to happen? You can pause the video here and have a little think and see what's going to happen. And I'm going to download that, so just move it over to the one side there. And we want to display the camera there. So let's have a look and see. So I'm going to download. Okay, so let's try this one. So it picks it, should pick at random. There we go. So you can see it done twice. It did the square. Now once it's done the skull, square again, square again. It's done the skull. I got 3 times that time. 4, 5. Okay. So try and count how many times each one shows up, because it should be 50-50, shouldn't it? It should be 50-50. And see if you can get your, try it out with your friends' ones as well and see how many times you get each one. And of course you can use your own custom images on this one as well. Okay. Okay. So for this one then, we want to use this coin flip. So what you want to do is extend the program to include the coin flip animation and test it out in your friends. Count how many times you get each side. Is it fair? So I'm just going to add these little pieces of icon here. So let's see. So I'm just going to go to basic and show icon. And I'm going to have a couple of those. Show icon. Should be 4 of them, I think. Like so. So that's what it should look like there. Move these 2 out of the way here. Don't need those ones for now. So I'll bring this up. So there we go. So it's going to show, we're going to show the coins. So we want the square and the square again. So it's the big diamond first, then the small diamond, then the big diamonds, and then the small diamonds. Okay, so this is representing the coin flipping in the air. Okay, and then it's going to pick one of these two at random. So let's see, does that work then? And we can download it. Let's see. So yeah, so it does a little animation and then picks. Yep. So we got another one. Yeah. There we go. So it's called the coin flip, this one. So we've got two different little things going to come up. There we go. So count how many times you get each of them to see if there is a difference. It shouldn't be. It should be the same for both. Okay. So that's that one. Okay. And of course, place your code here. So let's bring it all together. We're going to play a little. We're going to try and make a little game here. We're going to use some selection. We've used here. We're going to use some loop, and we're going to try and do this game called Snap the Dot. It's called. Okay. So before we make the game, I want you to give me an explanation of what do you think this code is doing, what is happening here, and what is happening here. Okay. So let's see if we can build this one. Okay. So I'm going to get rid of all of this stuff again. And I think we need the button A pressed. We do. And we want some logic. And we need an if statement with if then else. Yeah, perfect, like that. And we want this thing called a sprite. And we want to set it equal to, if it equals to 2, then change the score by 1. And we'll explain as we go along with this one. So if you go down to advanced here, you should see a thing called game. So we're going to find this one. So let's see which one we need. It's the logic one first. So we need to find logic first, and it should be if it's something equal to, so this one, drop it in. Okay, so again, that was in logic, and this is the logic gate here, logic one, and we're going to find sprite x. So let's show that one, game, and it should be sprite x. Here it is, yeah, and it should be set to 2. Okay, change the score by 1. So yeah, so down to game again. It should be change the score by 1 here. Else game over. So let's do that one. Down to game again and find game over. There it is. Okay. Oh, so we have to do what's called create the sprite. That's why we have on this exclamation mark here. So we're going to take the on start here, and we need to set sprite. So we got to do that one. So game should be oh, so it should be the red one first. So it's variables, set sprite. And it should be create sprite at this coordinates. So we're going to do create sprite to 2. There we go. So we got rid of our error here. And then forever, we're going to move the sprite 1. And if it's on the edge, we bounce. So we're going to do move the sprite. Where are we here? Let's see. So something moved by 1. There it is, moved by 1. And I'm going to pause, and the pause will be down here. Pause. I'm actually going to set it to a second because it does go very fast. And then sprite. So here it should be, if the sprite is on the edge, so again, go down to game. If the sprite is on the edge, it should bounce. Okay. So I'll just move that over there so we can see it a little bit better. Okay, so that should be everything, I think. So let's see if we can explain what's going on here. So you can see the animation started here on the side. So what's happening? So we're going to create this thing called a sprite. In computer games, we call this little dot or little graphics on the screen a sprite, and we're going to create it at x and y, which is 2, 2. So in programming terms, this is 0, this is 1, and this is 2, and again 0, 1, 2. So it's actually in the middle. It creates it by 2. And if the sprite is on the x-axis, which is going across, is on 2, when you press A, then you change the score by 1. So basically the aim of the game is to try and get it to number 2 and then press the button, and you can see I got a score there. And here we go again, and I hit it, I got another score. And if I don't hit it when it's in the middle, game over. Okay, so the game forever moves by 1 here. The sprite moves by 1. If it's on the edge, it bounces, so if it goes to this edge, so there's my score. What score did I get? Should have got 2. Excellent. So that means my code is working, and you should be able to write an explanation based on that now too. I'm going to download it. Let's see if it works. There we go. So I've got my in the middle. So let's see if I can hit. Yes, got it. Got it. So of course we can make this a bit harder if we change the time on here. So I can change the time up here to just be 100 milliseconds, and you'll see that it'll go much faster. So if you want to make it harder for you, let's see if I can do it. I think it was much harder the last time I tried to do it, actually. Yes, no. Did I? Nope, missed it. Game over. So let me see if you're much better than me. See if you've got better reflexes. You could also try and make it a bit more difficult. So instead of it going just back and forth, you can maybe get it to move around at random, and see if you can do that. See if you can get the random function to make it move around at random, and experiment with that one. Okay, so that's everything today. So we looked at selection, so making a choice between 2 different items here. We looked at loops, so everything, something that you want to repeat over and over again. And we've looked at random. Random isn't actually in this one, but you could add random to this game as well. Random choices. Okay, so of course, once you have created your code, you should create a screenshot of it here. So create a screenshot of the code here, and we should be placing it into this here. So it should be on 3.7. So here, so write your explanation about the code here, and then place your screenshot. And again, what I said before, try to extend it, try to make it a bit different, maybe change the speed, and see if you can beat your friends at it. And I'll see you in the next video.